Cryin not up to stuff in terms of having answers to anything that could really take advantage of this Ryze. And I really want to see where Beishang goes with his jungle pick, because for WE, you would think this would heighten their priority on Gwen even more, because WE have been one of the only teams that really utilize Gwen as, you know, a champion that can also go into the jungle role. But instead, looks like they're gonna opt into more early pressure coming out. You know, I called it too soon, Penguin. I called it too soon. I was right the first time.
Yeah, you talked about the hovers. You didn't have faith in yourself as they kind of come in, and that's why we didn't want to stop you from talking, because they could until it's locked in, they could go all the way back. So they are going to go with that early prio, like you just mentioned.
And now for RNG, I mean, they know they have this blind pick of Ryze coming out, how they're going to punish it. Instead, they're just going to say, hey, it's not really going to be about that 1v1 laning phase. We're just going to go with something that can impact the map. Cryin has gone back to this Twisted Fate time and time again, showing that they are going to rely on this one, and the Varus pick coming out once again for the side of RNG. So this time around, RNG will have more tools just from the fact that they do have that Destiny to be able to get around the map, utilize that macro, utilize their knowledge about playing the game to find picks, to force crazy side lane trades, and come back into a game if they do fall behind like they did last time around, though. I'm sure that is not the goal from RNG.
Probably not the goal, but with the lock-in of Ezreal, we do see the junglers, the mid laners, and the AD carries all picked and ready to go for these two sides. Now you can see the top lanes are going to be the focus here by the side of Team WE, and of course by Royal Never Give Up. They're going to go towards the Camille, the Gwen. I would not be surprised to maybe see a Jayce ban and maybe a Renekton as well.
I think you're definitely on the money in terms of like those main champions you would think of as the most blindable, right? Renekton and Jayce definitely coming through, but instead, WE banning out the Wukong. So WE, to me, when you do that, you signal you kind of want the Jayce for yourself. Wukong, we've really only seen him come out as an answer to him, you know, level 6 having that all-in potential, but instead gonna ban away the Irelia. I wonder, is WE here, if you do just look to lock something like that in now and have like guaranteed lane dominance? So Renekton is still something you highlighted that's up as well, though Breathe hasn't played it. Or if you just go for an engaged support here, you look for something like a Leona or a Nautilus, and then you try to save counter pick for Breathe and topside.
Yeah, you try and keep it for topside, but you still have the Jayce available. I was just about to mention this. Like, there's no real good counters into it, which means that Breathe is feeling comfortable to be able to just take that one up himself into that top side. Knows the Irelia is not going to be taken into him, but I'm going to bring it out right now. I want to see RNG pick up the Gragas here, complete damage mitigation into the Jayce, and just say, look, nope, never mind. I forgot about it 100%. It's the Lucian. Lucian top, Xiaohu's literal favorite.
I was curious to what they were going to do into it, right? Because WE ban out the Wukong. It's the signal for a Jayce. You then ban out the Irelia. To me, when you do this as RNG, you're kind of saying, we're fine with you picking it and we'll play into it. They do go back to an old favorite, so just comfort picks across the board for the side of RNG. Going to be playing out that 1-3-1 style that they were doing so well in spring, doing so well at MSI. Not necessarily about like forcing down these turrets on sides, but about finding picks, about rotating first. And for WE, they're just all inning on 5v5 team fights. Now with the Alistar coming through, both engage and disengage on their side, they have a beefier front line. So I feel like if we get to the point where it's about mid-game, both teams are even, WE should be favored. But for RNG, they will always have these creative plays around them of bringing Cryin up to Xiaohu's side of the map, finding a pick, and trying to find ways into fights with a numbers advantage, or getting on an objective first, or even turning that one pick into more picks. So two very different styles, two very doable win conditions for both teams.
20 games of Lucian for Xiaohu, and his scoreline is 17-3. Didn't lose a single game of Lucian in the spring 2021 split. It became a must ban against him, and I believe the last time he lost on it was 2020 spring. So this is a big champion for Xiaohu, and honestly something that can really bring them back into this series.
I was going to say that I kind of like WE's draft more just for the fact that I just love the reliability of when you have a draft that can just very easily look for front-to-back team fights. You have engage, you have frontline, you check all the boxes. But for RNG, this is comfort. This is everything they know and love. So I'm not going to count RNG out just yet, just despite the fact that, once again, it feels like they do have something that is harder to play and harder to execute. So if you are an RNG fan out there, you are putting your faith into Xiaohu on this Lucian. We know it is his most feared pick. Back in spring, us and pretty much everyone around the world was talking about this pick as maybe the most fearsome Lucian in the world. Is going to go for that airy build to try and play around that range that Jayce have. Might go for the lethality build, which is something we've hit on before. Point is, Penguin, I expect there to be a lot more action this time around.
Yep, and in the great words of Frostgur, and Xiaohu is the best Lucian top lane in the world. I will echo that until the day he loses when I'm casting him, because right now he is just undefeated this year on this pick. Such a fantastic moment for him as Elk. In a little bit of trouble. Those concussive blows do land. We can see Missing using the head buff here, and they're actually going to pop down the exhaust, force the cleanse out. Winter's Bite should be up in 2-1. There it is. There's the Winter's Bite. They're not going to chase up onto it anymore, as the rest of WE are here, but they do not know where the rest of RNG are. So you got both summoners out of that, and that's just a straight up win.
Ming is a total Chad, and I will never doubt Ming. So I put him on number 1
Ming
on my
VT.
list of LPL players.
Ming VP.
So,
yeah, man. Ming VP.
Back.
Was he number 1? Was he your number 1?
He was my number 1. I remember back in the day of when he was on YM of scrimming his team when I was in the LMS, and it was him and Ning in the bottom lane. And yeah, they were stomping us. So ever since that day, I decided in my heart that I will believe in Ming forever. As
Ming
now
and Ning.
we get... Yeah, Ming and Ning in the bot lane. Good times. Good times. Back in the day. I think that was 2016 off the top of my head. But we're going to get into the lane matchups. This time around, Cryin is on Comfort. This is where he has looked best so far. We've already seen some trading up in topside. Airy has become pretty standard for Lucian. I think is especially good in matchups where like the enemy either has like similar or longer range than you, being able to look for those short trades with the Airy. Breathe going to be the one to win out all-ins with Conquer, but Xiaohu getting off so much damage on the return trade. Another proc of Airy also does have Scorch in his runes for a bit more of that early game damage.
Yep, and this is why you have to just respect this. You can't really all-in the Lucian this early on, which is kind of Jayce's whole deal. He looks to get those early trades as Breathe goes forward. So dangerous to do this, and he misses the accelerate shot blast. He has to leave.
And Xiaohu once again coming off to a nice, coming out with nice early trades in the laning phase, while Beishang gonna look mid, but Cryin, I think, doing a great job of hovering towards his strong side of the map, hovering where his jungler is. Way gonna look to capitalize, but W have a ward. I think they should be totally fine here. Was interested to see if they were gonna try and mind game this one, but they've let Way know.
Yeah, they've now let him know, as we're going to see that Storm come down. It's going to put a little bit of damage on the Cryin. He has to flash away as that Rune Prison was coming off of cooldown. So Wei kind of baiting his mid laner a little bit there and actually gaining a little bit of an advantage here for WE, as they're going to be able to get the reset off, as Xiaohu is here. He's going to find Beishang, and they're going to try and just keep him away. Beishang playing bouncer. He knows he needs Shanks to get this reset off.
Yeah, for RNG, they just want to be able to pick up this topside scuttle. They end up doing that. For Beishang, he still needs to get his camps in the top side. So RNG are going to be able to get both scuttles this time around, echoing what WE did last time with their bot lane able to get this bottom side scuttle. So RNG already making their way to a nice early gold lead. We do need to remember that TF is on the Rift, so that always does influence it a little bit, as it looks like a lot of that gold lead is coming out from the 100 in mid lane, 200 on AD carry so far. So not too much to talk about. Is Xiaohu gonna come back to lane with that tier, so gonna be able to continuously keep up the aggression. And we've already hit on what we want to see from RNG early on, right? We want to see some ganks put up towards his top side, with Breathe going for another reset after pushing that wave out. Probably isn't gonna happen anytime soon. For RNG, you might even need to think about putting some resources into mid first to help Cryin out, for the fact that he doesn't have flash. He's going to be sitting under turret, so look to help him out. Even if you don't get a kill onto Shanks, just try to relieve some pressure with a pressure gank, and then once we're closer to the level 6 point, you can start looking to move Cryin up towards top side.
Well, Wei to clear his top side, just going to put himself in the river to make sure he can spot out Beishang should he be roaming around this mid lane. Good push here for Shanks on the top or on the bottom mid lane, as they see now Breathe. He has to play so respectfully. He cannot walk up to this wave. He has to let it go down, and he has to wait and see if he can just defend himself, because he's all on his lonesome and he doesn't have exact perfect information as to where Wei is.
And Xiaohu is stacking this one up, so he's going to be able to keep Breathe off the wave. Going to have to be incredibly cautious with the amount of minions. Wei, nowhere near the top side of the map, actually moving in towards bottom river, it looks like will naturally path back up towards the side. I don't believe Xiaohu can sync his wave with how far Wei is on the map right now, assuming Wei's going to clear all of his camp. So I want to see what Wei is going to do again. I do want to see him maybe put a little bit of help towards this mid lane matchup. The big thing is I feel like WE are the ones who will have more emphasis to move with their support, just from the fact that RNG do have Braum, and W are also running Ezreal as an AD carry, so Elk should be quite safe to just be able to play by himself.
Yeah, I will say that under normal circumstances, I feel like Missing would have roamed a little bit earlier than he, basically hasn't right now. Mainly because Elk hasn't had Flash or Cleanse, and only just getting those summoners back now, so needs to babysit his bot lane AD carry partner as a little bit more than he probably normally would. As you're pretty happy with this if you're on RNG. You're scaling up. You've got yourselves, good pushing waves. You're just trying to see if you can make this one work in topside. Actually, Breathe.
We saw RNG trying
freeze
to go
this one
for
very,
the play
very nicely right in front of his turret.
Coming out towards mid, and that's where Wei was
really in a great position to be able to capitalize on that one, being able to crash the turret.
Towards topside. Now, Cryin does have the Destiny Gate. Where's the action, Penguin? Oh, well, apparently I lost Penguin, which I didn't know, so Lyric is back once again with the solo cast. I guess it sounded like I was talking to no one, which sounds pretty interesting. Would actually be pretty funny to go back and listen to that one. As, we come back on the map. Last time I solo casted, we talked about things being dates, but not going to go back this time around, chat. Sorry, we are just friends on this space. This is both teams now playing around mid lane. Herald gonna be up in about 40 seconds, so both teams gonna be playing towards that one. WE have done a pretty good job of keeping up consistent pressure in mid, but WE so far are changing back down to having prio down towards the bottom side of the rift. As okay, we're gonna finally get some action coming out. We see that Wei is up towards the top side on our mini-map. Gold card comes out. Sonic Wave does connect, but Shank's able to back off with Missing here. They actually might be able to turn it around. Cryin close to going down. Does actually survive in the end, and they turn it around onto Missing. TP coming in from Xiaohu opens up for Shanks to get low and have to flash as well. Arcane Barrage doesn't end up doing absolutely anything. And yeah, RNG being the ones to come out with an advantage. Really nice turn for Missing is, Penguin, apparently we have you back, and I'm not going to be talking to no one anymore.
Yeah, Arcane Barrage is incorrect. It's a True Shot Barrage. Minus points for your play-by-play. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
I'm only yanking you. I'm not. That was some fantastic play-by-play. But
I have no idea how you guys remember every ability name. You guys are absolutely gangsters with that.
I will say that Jake is definitely the best one with those ones as you come into team fights. But yeah, it is a win for RNG. They were able to get themselves out, Cryin just about keeping themselves alive. And that means, though, the WE will have the reset first onto this Rift Herald. And that means Xiaohu has to just concede. That can't really contest, as I say that. Wei is in the vicinity and can go in with a Q if he wants to. Will not get it, though. That will be secured by WE. But now the Glacial Fish are down, and they're going to be able to turn this fight around. Missing is already dead. Xiaohu, though, has been jumped on by Breathe and Elk, and they'll clean him up on the aftermath. Gold card lands. Shanks has no flash and nowhere to go. He's going to get taken down. Another kill for Gala as the WE have to run for the hills, and they might have to lose a little bit more on this top side.
RNG doing a nice job of turning that one around. WE were able to prevent Xiaohu from coming into the play, so they were able to get one off of that, and they also did get the Rift Herald, but RNG found the positioning. They cut Shanks off from being able to join, and then once he did join, he was in such an awkward position, RNG were able to keep going. So RNG, despite losing the Rift Herald, have been able to keep the gold lead that they cemented, and we're going to see it coming here, right? The Realm Warp has to come out because Shanks couldn't enter by himself. They do find the initial engage onto Missing, but Xiaohu has been being kept at bay by Breathe. Elk able to follow up, and Shanks doesn't have flash from an earlier play, so very easy for the Q to come out from Ming to guarantee that kill for the side of RNG. So, we didn't have a lot of action in the first few minutes of the game, but it is finally coming out with neutrals on the board. And you know, Penguin, there's something about solo casting that always gets me in a hype state of mind.
Yeah, it is fun. It is again, doing it for a few minutes, or like, you know, a couple of minutes, fine. Doing it for 40 or so in an actual game, not exactly ideal, as you do need to take breaths and take drinks of water to keep your throat nice and hydrated. And
weak, Penguin, weak.
Yeah, you just took a drink. I saw you. How dare you? How dare you? As we can see now on bot side, ooh, Chain of Corruption not quite able to land. That could have been another kill there, but there was a cleanse onto Elk. Would have just burnt his summoners. But now with the pressure you have on this bot side, it is going to be WE conceding the Dragon as they wait to see where they want to put this Rift Herald.
RNG playing down through their bot side pressure to walk into River. You love to see it. RNG now going to do a nice job of controlling vision. W really having no ability to turn on to Ming, so they should be totally fine here. And now we're seeing Beishang quickly try to make his way up towards top side. But Cryin is the one with Prio. Ooh, nice trade from Breathe. So we could potentially see a 2v2 in River right now for this top side scuttle, but Breathe can move first.
Yeah, Breathe can't move first, but I don't think he's going to have enough time. Cryin will pick up a nice pick there. Gold card into Lucian. Sonic Wave. Love to see it there from the side of RNG. And WE now falling further and further behind. They try to go in on this bot side, but with the Unbreakable there from the Braum, there's just not really enough trade back, and you've lost a lot of HP onto your support. I just don't see them how they can take this fight.
Still, WE getting a nice trade on the back end of that. RG evening it out a little bit. I want to go back to that mid play because we were talking about how Breathe can move first. He had Prio, but I love that RNG don't even let that happen by just being able to burst out onto Shanks right away. Is Breathe.
Oh, we've seen this before. Breathe in a lot of trouble. Has got the flash available to him, but the culling with the gold card and a little bit of a safeguard to get themselves out. RNG doing what RNG do best and setting up a tent on top lane.
RNG finally find a window to do it. After that play coming out on mid, it did give them pressure on the top half of the map. They were able to finally get Cryin to use their Destiny up there. And we hit on that these were RNG's champions, and this is where RNG thrives. 2-0-3 on Cryin's Twisted Fate. Way totally popping off now that he does have one of the higher priority junglers up in the meta. And WE not able to find any answer so far. They are looking up towards top side. Xiaohu should have his E up, does also have flash available.
Yep, and has a ward, so knows Beishang is here. This is just going to be the Rift Herald drop. A little bit early, though, and a little bit far away from the turret, so Beishang going to have to play a little bit of escort here. You know, always hate those escort minutes, those escort missions, as now we see Beishang in a little bit of trouble. Shanks, though, not going to be doing, actually, it's actually going to be stopped, actually, all together, as we can see there. Breathe did get the stop onto that TP play, but Cryin gets a better trade in the mid lane.
And now, W are going to keep these members around topside. Looks like they still want to try and punish Xiaohu. They can potentially try and set up a dive. They're extremely tanky. Realm Warp comes out.
Realm Warp does come out, but Shanks doesn't take it to turn off the turret. Xiaohu has no support, and Shanks picks up a kill. Nice move here from WE to keep this Lucian down. But while that's been happening, they're kind of losing elsewhere on the map. You can see mid and bot wave all being pushed in by RNG, and this is similar to what we saw in our first game of the series today, where you're putting so many resources topside, you're losing out, and you might even lose even more as they come into the bot side. Elk gonna have to use his cute cleanse onto the exhaust. They do miss the Winter's Bite, and that means that Elk will not lose any more. But WE are happy enough with that trade. They're still only about 3,000 gold behind.
We came into this series talking about the party up in the top side, but I feel like we've seen WE be the one to consistently stay around playing with top, to where RNG has done this in both games, right? We saw in game 1 the level 2 getting towards spot, and once again, just trying to play on their pressure, their bottom lane has been able to get in response to WE focusing so much up towards Breathe. They did try to set up for the fight, but with bringing Beishang down, they're not going to be able to find anything. They did get a sizable amount of damage onto this turret. We're able to deny a bit of CS from Elk, so right now Gala sitting on level 9 compared to Elk's level 8. Gala also up about 1,500 gold. So a lot of
CS.
Team RNG's gold lead is
Breathe might be in
trying to set it
trouble.
up.
He flashes over. They land the Everfrost and the culling. Oh, that was so nice. Great teamwork there. Nice thumbs up there from Xiaohu saying cheers, buddy. They didn't even have to use any of their own flashes. So nice.
Smiles and laughs all around from Xiaohu right after making that play. And that's one of the great things about a TF, is you are so easily able to play towards both sides of the map. You're able to keep playing towards your strong side with bot lane, with Wei still over there, and you're able to make this play on top to try to set Breathe behind. W are trying to make the counterplay though. If you look at the minimap, both Beishang and Missing are up there right now. Xiaohu will back up, but this should open up maybe not prio for WE to start Herald because we see the other members of RNG coming, but it should allow WE into River first to keep up the vision control that they do have for this objective.
30 seconds till Dragon. Honestly, I don't think WE really want to try and lose this, but let's have a look at the replay here, and it's just look at the edge of this Everfrost right here. Just lands it, and that just means a full culling to the back of the head.
You're right, just barely hitting him there, locking him down long enough for Xiaohu to deliver all the damage. And with the fact that more members of RNG were coming out of base first, it didn't matter that WE were here. They wouldn't have been able to start the Rift Herald. Not sure if they tried to get more vision down and RNG were just able to clear it. But RNG will be the team who are able to take this objective away. WE making the correct call, already starting to move most of their members down to the bottom half of the map to start up on this Dragon.
Yeah, saw Breathe up to the side there, seeing if he could maybe throw in an accelerated shock blast if they wanted to keep a smite onto Wei. Would have had a lot of burst damage onto that, but not to be. And actually Eclipse being built here by Xiaohu, so going straight for the big laning, you know, sustain item rather than what we normally see, of course, with the Gale Force.
Definitely being a bit different coming out with this one, but this was actually the go-to build when we first started seeing Aerie come out on Lucian, is you would go the more lethality and early game oriented route with the Eclipse, so we're going to see Xiaohu stick to that one. You do have a lot of squishy members on the opposite side. Also, the sustain that the item brings does feel quite good, but with WE just continuously bringing these members towards topside in the pressure that Breathe has been able to generate by himself, look at Xiaohu. He has to keep playing far back underneath this turret, not able to walk up and contest the wave. So despite the 5,000 gold lead for RNG, WE are still able to find windows to impact the map. Man, that hurt.
That is so much damage. You can see now the rest of RNG coming up to here. They're trying to see if they can catch out to him, and they will. Wei picks up his second kill of the game, 2-0-4 on this Lee Sin. This is kind of a little bit of a change we're seeing in RNG, where they're no longer going for those long scaling games. They pick very mid-game orientated team fighting teams where, like a Mundo going full bruiser, like this is Eclipse Lucian. They are going for more that we need to win quicker rather than wait for the game to scale out.
A lot of that goes to Cryine's champion pool as well, because you can't use him as your scaling element anymore with all those champions falling out of the meta. As RNG, they will be able to get the second charge off. They won't be able to force anything. If they do overstay, they got to be a bit careful with the WE coming from base and the Realm Warp being available for Shanks. We've already seen that Realm Warp used in Game 1 to punish a lot of their mistakes coming out. But still nothing available towards the side of WE. And for RNG, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing, right? You're going to keep playing the side lane game of Gala's going to be sitting mid answering waves. You're going to be able to rotate both Wei and Ming over to prop up Xiaohu. And then you're going to be using TF as your weak side to just answer waves and look for opportunities to roam him across the map. As we see here, Xiaohu already getting off a really good trade. Both Ming and Wei making their way over top. Beautiful flash Q coming out to guarantee the kill for the side of RNG.
And actually, I'm curious to see now as well, Gala going with the Eclipse, not going with the Dustbringer or this Prowler's Claw, which of course the Prowler's Claw hasn't been used in quite a while after the nerfs it received, but going a little bit more towards, you know, I suppose in a Xiaohu's shadow is saying, look, you're going for it, I'm going for it. Let's continue this snowball as much as we possibly can, and let's continue this early burst damage that we have for ourselves.
Speaking of burst, RNG definitely do have a lot of it, even wherever Wei is with either solo laner. So right now, hovering more down towards that bottom half of the map, they do have the Destiny available. And Xiaohu gonna just completely ignore the top side. They're looking for a pick.
They're looking for a pick onto Ming. He pops down the Glacial Fissure, even goes golden. There's Cryin with the Destiny Gate and keeps himself and his support alive in this fight. Not gonna land himself the Everfrost, but the rest of WE have to back away. There is no objective to take, but a fight is still an objective.
That's a very important point. I remember once when I was talking to some of the LPL teams, I brought up this like concept that you hear a lot or see a lot of, like talked about in the West of like fighting for nothing, which is definitely true, right? That happens. Teams fight for nothing all the time. But the way he countered me was saying like, what do you mean by fighting for nothing? Like you could be fighting, you can get kills, you can get, which gives you more gold, which gives you pressure on the map to get vision. Like he said, there's a lot of downtimes where, like, sure, maybe it's not the most efficient play to look for a fight, but if you're confident you can execute or you have the setup, there is still a lot you're able to get off of it. So very interesting to hear the mindset from people within the LPL about some of these aggressive plays coming out with the fact that RNG did have the setup, but Shanks being a little bit cheeky right now. I wonder if he will be able to catch Xiaohu out, but Xiaohu actually going to be the one catching him out. Going to just keep pushing in this wave and start hovering towards mid. I think RNG are going for this play just because of how low the mid lane turret is, so they're hoping to break this one down and get a bit more gold in their pockets.
Yeah, they can take the tier 1 and mid. Tier 2 and top is also very, very low. So if you're just able to keep Xiaohu there, he will be able to go for it. Oh, speaking of going for it, Missing might be in a little bit of trouble. He has flash and should be able to use it to get himself over the wall, but he's trying to just delay it for as long as he possibly can. He flashes in, he gets the knock up, the knockback. It was all a bait. All of them, all of the side of WE trying to keep him in and not use that flash for anything except offense. They will have to burn though Shanks' flash as the rest of RNG came in to try and capitalize.
Missing, that was so clever. Holding it. It looked like he was just waiting maybe to bring more members of WE over as I stopped Chains of Corruption do land.
Oh, Chain of Corruption is there, but Elk still has his cleanse, as we're going to see the fight now really kind of jump into this. As there's Shanks coming in off the TP, went back, tried to get himself a reset onto this, but very difficult. And nice little snipe there from Gala with the Varus, able to keep this one going in the favor of RNG, despite them losing their jungler.
Gala doing so much work with this Varus pick this time around. Dragon coming up. This should be RNG's. Even bringing in Cryin's teleport to guarantee they have it. Should be even able to catch out Breathe. Does that flash though?
He does have flash, but where can he go with it? That's the question. The Destiny Gate going to come in over the top of this. They're going to use the gold card, and Ming picks it up with the Winter's Bite. RNG have found themselves their second, third, fourth, and fifth gear, and they are not stopping.
Honestly, Penguin, this is great to see, but also scary at the same time, in my opinion, if you're an RNG fan. Like, this is some great gameplay coming out. They are taking over the map. They're finding picks. They're setting up side lanes, taking every objective. But you just look at the champions they're doing it with. And I feel like I'm bringing this up too much this week about champions and what teams rely on to win. But it's like, you know, they did get pretty hard smurfed on in game one. They bring out, I'd say, the two most famous champions for both their soul laners to pick up this win. It's great to see, but it leaves other questions, right? Leaves other questions.
Well, I suppose my caveat or my counter to that is that if no one's going to ban it, you keep getting it, why the hell not play it? You know, if these are your best
agree
champions.
With that. but at the same time, as we saw with OMG today, right? There's going to be a time where a team says no. I guess the other silver lining for RNG then would be it's like, hey, it's better that teams push you now before you're in playoffs than getting pushed in a best of 5 and you'd be like, oh my god, we never considered this situation because the team never did this. So definitely a lot of different angles to think about this in terms of like teams relying on certain picks and certain styles to come through.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point to bring up. But I do say that RNG have found a lot of success with their... Oh, despite misses. I feel like if they had a caught Beishang out there, they could have killed them with that. But I think the thing is that they have found a lot of success with this one-note style. And yes, we all love to say that these people love to do different things. We love to see different concepts and different ways of winning to come out. But if you can continue to win off of this by just doing the one style, well, I think it's the way you can keep going.
Penguin, my counterpoint to that would be, well, what do you do if you don't have Twisted Fate? You know, like I guess that's what I'm scared of. We've seen Cryin. Okay, we got two in the books, but Realm Warp canceled.
Oh, canceled.
Nice.
Shanks actually got hit by the Chains of Corruption, mean they couldn't take it. To be honest with you, I don't know if WE wanted to take that. Beishang and Missing, not the tankiest right now, as they are very heavily chunked. But with everyone taking resets, this is just a straight up Baron. You have 280 carries.
Man, I love when RNG goes through plays like this. The confidence to look for these sort of plays. They're not doing this too quickly, but they're setting up more picks.
Oh, Missing hasn't got a chance. You either contest the Baron or you die. Or you know what? Let's do both. As you can see, Cryin now just trying to play away from everybody else. He's got Breathe and Elk breathing down his shoulders. But they are going to get them off of the Baron. And RNG do get a kill, but they do not get the big purple worm, so they're going to have to reset, get themselves a health bar, spend some of this gold, and get themselves back on the map.
RNG are completely happy with that play. I don't even know how much they were thinking that they would be able to get the Baron, but the fact that they're able to force WE, they're able to quickly turn for those picks is the big point there. Next Dragon up in about 2 minutes. That would be Soul for the side of RNG. They're going to get back on the map, not really in a position to just move back to side lanes now because WE are still pushing those out back onto RNG's side of the map. You'd expect RNG to start defaulting towards those side lanes right now to start those pushes at full force. With Dragon still a little bit away, RNG will still be playing towards his top side. Do they find anything? No.
He steals it with the Q. I think he would have hoped it would have survived a little bit longer so he could have gotten on top of Beishang, but not able to do it. And like you said, a minute or just under 2 minutes till that Dragon Soul is up. And this is a team where I look at Dragon Soul and go, my God, the Cloud Soul is going to be so big for this team. Like Varus, the Twisted Fate, the Lee Sin, hell, even the Braum to be able to reposition after the Glacial Fissure can be hugely beneficial for RNG.
RNG do have a lot of tools at dissuading the limited amount of engage coming from WE's side. WE definitely having more of, I'd say, like a poke or pick comp coming through than just being able to hard force engages onto RNG. If WE can find fights and this was even, I still think WE would be a little bit favored in terms of how the comps do play out. But, I mean, you're like 8,000 gold behind, so it feels like almost anything that breaks out, barring you overstepping or WE setting up good picks with either vision denial or brush plays, should be pretty heavily in RNG's favor. And RNG now going to go straight into the bottom quadrant of WE's jungle. They're going to be able to get their own vision wards down and start playing with this poke coming out from Varus. Already sitting on 3 items, as well as, I feel like, Cryin on his core items with both Rapid Fire Cannon and the Zanya's Hourglass in his inventory. So RNG at the strongest point of the game right now that it feels like the champions really ever will be.
Yeah, and it looks like WE are just looking like they're not really going to try and contest this one. Way goes in. There is missing over the side, so RNG need to be a little bit careful. Now they know that the Alistar is there, so just making sure that there's no shenanigans. Cryin being sent to deal with the waves pushing in top side, but now can roam back towards this dragon. And honestly, WE cannot contest. They are in no way, shape, or form able to set this one up. They only have 1 TP and it's on Shank, so they can't even double TP to try and go for it.
No, so WE still just going to try and scrounge together whatever scraps they can on the map for gold, hoping they were going to be able to get it with that ult coming out from Elk.
Hopeful at
best.
But
nothing. Yeah, hopeful at best, right? I think it goes back to the point of last game where we saw the Jinx rocket for the red buff, or if that was in an earlier series, I can't remember. Just like, hey, there's nothing on the map, just go for it, you can't do anything. As RNG now going to start swapping their vision line back up towards the top half of the map. Xiaohu stealing away camps in bot side to make sure Breathe won't be able to pick up anything. And I feel like now we're going to get back to a point where RNG get back to the top side, get vision down, and then we're probably going to get to see another Baron bait come out from RNG and see if they can set up another pick in topside jungle.
And with the movement speed they'll get by using their ultimates as well off of this Dragon Soul, it means that the turn onto from the Baron to the team fight is so much quicker from RNG, and WE are going to have to be so aware that they're not going to be as slow. They have to be ready for them at any point in time, and they're trying to see if they can get any vision in here, but it's very difficult. You have got a TP for Xiaohu as he's sitting in base, going to bring himself back out with 3 items, finishes off the Sorelda's Grudge, and we're going to be able to slow people down with his culling should he end up catching anybody out. And this is just an easy push in here from the side of RNG. Get in, get the vision, force them back, get them to reset, and if you get yourself 30 seconds alone with the big purple worm, it's going to be a hell of a fun time.
With those builds that you were just talking about, I think we shouldn't underestimate the amount of bursts that can come out from both Gala and Xiaohu, right? Because, I mean, like 1 or 2 arrows from Gala with a culling from Xiaohu, and then a member of WE can just outright be dead with the amount of like penetration, lethality that they are sporting on their side. RNG right now trying to just 2-man this Baron while forcing WE out.
Ooh, Elk goes over, very aggressive, needs to be super careful, but look at the damage onto Missing there. He gets hit by the gold card and forced to use the Unbreakable, and that is before he has any HP. Now you can see the Baron down to about 3,000 HP, but they don't want it. They want to turn for the fight, and there's just too much burst damage. Goes golden with about 1 HP. Beishang finally falls, and that's the 2 tanky boys down and out for WE. RNG right back onto the Baron.
WE just going to back off. They do still have their poke tools available, but don't even want to risk getting in range for, you know, maybe Cryin with his Rapid Fire Cannon and gold card to come in range. So RNG just playing a very methodical game this time around, have their comfort picks. I'd say have a lot more tools than they did in game 1 in terms of their draft as well. Just able to start picking up these advantages, really punishing both Missing and Breathe on opposite sides of the map. That is one of the highlights of Twisted Fate, and RNG have done such a good job at utilizing it.
really, really have RNG now 11,000 gold ahead, have themselves a Dragon Soul. They've got the Baron now ticking away, and that'll bring them up to be able to try and push in a lot of these tier 2s, maybe even an inhibitor if they're really feeling it, as Gala just having a fantastic game. Honestly, 5-0-1, really looking like he's very, very comfortable on this Varus pick. And honestly, if you look at his most recent things and you look at how they won in spring, it was about finding Gala and Cryin a comfort champion each. And then from there, just basically using Wei and oh, I see the Destiny Gate just used by Cryin. As Wei and Xiaohu just to be able to carry the team fights.
You're right, because your other 3 members of the team are quite versatile. If you can keep Cryin and Gala comfortable, I think RNG are in a good place. And with this Baron buff, they're going to be able to start sieging down these turrets. Man, that damage is dirty coming out from RNG.
Is so nasty, and they're going to be able to break open this inhibitor turret. There is some low health bars for RNG, so they need to be a little bit more respectful, but Xiaohu is just a one-man army in this bot side. They will break open both tier 2s and the inhibitor turrets, and looking for that second inhibitor as well. It's going to be so difficult for WE to do anything.
RNG do need to be careful though, right? Because certain health bars have started to get a little bit low. Elk doing his best to put off damage. He is the big hope for the side of WE right now, even connecting onto Cryin. But
oh my
man,
God.
that calling!
God, that calling does so much. Unbreakable will or not, he is broken, dead, buried back to the Shadow Realm. There is Ming with a fantastic Unbreakable to stop any kind of damage. Nexus turret number 1 falls. They're going to try and turn onto Shanks, who has to flash away after he goes golden, and they're turning back onto Beishang. He is being sacrificed. The bear is now a rug in RNG's front room, and they are turning on to absolutely everyone. There is nowhere that is safe for WE. They will lose this second game as RNG strike back hard and strike back fast.
That is the 8 series win streak RNG that we were hoping to see, coming in strong, getting their hands on picks in a style they're very comfortable with, and everything looked good the whole game. They were in control. And Penguin, before the series, you asked me, hey, if we're both played in our home stadiums, who has home advantage? Guess the answer is no one, as we